A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu editorial analysis for proficiency in English. As usual, let us start with the snippets. What is the first one over here? Duplicate voter cards. EC admitted to error but did not accept it. Based on duplicate voter cards, a statement given by, I guess, one of the leaders. So, what does it say? Good morning to all of you. EC admitted to error but did not accept it. Did not accept. A common error when it comes to past tense, interrogative, and negative forms, people tend to use a main verb in the past form using logic. But here, and they tend to say did not accepted, wrong, did not accept. And there are two verbs over here. First one is did, and it should be in past. And this one is a main verb. It should be in bare infinitive because it's a rule. It goes with past tense, interrogative, and negative forms. Bare infinitive important. Did not accept. When you see the word error, you should recollect an important common error. What is that? A lot of people tend to say, I did a mistake yesterday. Is that right or wrong? I did a mistake. Wrong. The correct expression, I made a mistake. Why means English is a combination language. Collocations are there. The noun mistake goes with the verb make. Past form made. Based on that, I made a mistake yesterday is correct. I did a mistake is wrong. That you should recollect. Otherwise, nothing to learn from this. We have a pic over here, dolphin eating fish. First ever estimate. Perhaps it's a study about estimate number of dolphins. Study finds a 6,327 Gangetic dolphins in 4 states. So this is Gangetic dolphin. It is about the number of Gangetic dolphins in different states. What is the number? According to the study, 6,327 Gangetic dolphins in 4 states. Very simple, nothing to recollect or nothing to consolidate as such. Only thing, when you see the word dolphin, when you see it is about, you should recollect, very good. Who is that? Pravalika, wonderful. Other students also, I appreciate. When you see the verb find, you all know find, found. That is an irregular verb, but we have another verb which is regular. Found, founded. What does it mean? To establish something. It goes with establishing a company, an organization, a firm, a society, a club, any of these. And also when you see a pic or an article related to anything that belongs to nature, especially wildlife, you have to recollect words like loss of habitat, endangered, extinct, poaching, contraband, confiscate. All these words you should recollect. As a smart learner, casual reader, there's nothing to recollect as such. We have another new snippet over here. 14 months slowdown, manufacturing PMI slid. Slid. Here slid means to go down. Slid to 56.3 last month. It is about manufacturing sector. Today, to be very frank, a lot of companies are not, Flora Fund also very good. A lot of countries are not focusing on, only a few countries are focusing on the manufacturing sector because the booming sector is IT sector. A lot of companies, a lot of countries are focusing on IT sector, and today India has reached this position because of IT sector, not because of manufacturing sector. Otherwise, nothing. Let us go to the next one. Usually we have an important snippet over here, a red background and white letters. Saving orans, way to protect Rajasthan's sacred forests. There's an important word here. Sacred means what? Holy, divine. Anything related to God, we use the word sacred, holy, divine. All these you should recollect. And if you take tribal people in our country, they consider forests a sacred place, abode of gods. And based on that, sacred forests. Otherwise, you may wonder why forest sacred. For many tribal people, there's a concept called nature man spirit complex. For many tribal people, forests are nothing but abode of gods. Means they believe gods live in the forests. Based on that sacred and way to protect Rajasthan's sacred forests, Supreme Court orders, SC's orders may not yield desired results. May not. It talks, you should recollect words like Nagesh, good. Pilgrimage, wonderful. And may talks about possibility, but the chances are more. Might talks about possibility, chances are less. That you should recollect. Yield. In this context, it's a positive word. What does it mean? Yield. To give, produce. It may not produce exactly, Pawan Kumar, produce. That is the exact word you should think of. Desired results means expected results. We have a pic of a spinner. I don't know how many of you know about this spinner, but it says, spin great. Who is this person? Padmaka Shivalka passes away. When you see the expression passes away, immediately you should recollect the word euphemism. Euphemism means what? Say something that is harsh in a nice way. That is known as euphemism. Important expression. That means he died, very simple. Now let us go to the main headline, today's front page of the Hindu paper. What does it say? Supreme Court seeks measures against vulgarity online. You all know the word seek. We have got many a time. Supreme Court seeks means euphemism, Nagesh, and Jayalakshmi also very good. Naveen also wonderful. Murali. I appreciate you guys. You're responding so well. Keep it up. Seek means to search for, to look for, seek, sort, job seekers. We have got many a time. But there's one word over here, vulgarity. Vulgarity, you should also think of the word obscene. Obscene means vulgar, not decent. Decent, opposite, not decent, but we cannot say that. What is the word? Obscene. Obscene posters, obscene behavior, vulgarity, noun form. It talks about moral standards. It talks about controlling vulgarity online. Not advisable, obviously. Let us go to the snippets over here. We got this yesterday. High Court halts ACB action against Butch till today. I read out one snippet about, and I said the name. How can you pronounce that name? It's a German word. German language, you should say "boo," but we cannot say that. No one understands. But you can say book, you can say bush, you can say book. All these are correct. Butch, all are correct. It's about stopping it for one day. FEMA breach. There's one important word. What is that word here? Breach. Paytm's parent firm gets notice. Breach has two different meanings. And we have, yes, stop, halt. We have got many a time. One, breach means a crack, concrete structure, wall, dam, breach. But breach also means violation. Violation of what? Violation of rights, contract, agreement. Then we say breach of something. Important word, exam point of view. ISRO releases more data from Aditya mission. Releases more data. As usual, data breach, a good combination. When you see the word data, you have to recollect datum singular, data plural. Data, when it is used as a plural of datum, takes a plural verb, but data can also be used as a collective noun, then it takes a singular verb. That also you should recollect. And today we have, usually we have a pick based on Indian culture or natural wonders, but today for a change, you see a different picture that goes with international, and it is related to Oscar awards. Obviously, this is an important GK thing, and you may get current affairs in the exam. Who got the best actor, best actress, best movie, all these. Anora's night at the Oscars. Perhaps it's the name of a movie, Anora. And that movie has got many Oscar awards. I guess 5 Oscar awards went to that particular movie. And based on that, best actress and other movies also, other things, best director. You got to spend some time on this, not only from proficiency, English proficiency point of view, but also GK point of view. You got to read this article. What do we have here? Police are yet to fathom the right to free speech and expression, says Supreme Court. There's one important word. Please respond. How many of you know the meaning of the word fathom? Yet to fathom. How many of you know the meaning of that word? It has two different meanings. One meaning, fathom, means it's a measure that goes with measuring depth. It is equivalent to 6 feet. 6 feet, we use the word fathom, but it goes with water bodies, it goes with the depth, one meaning, as unit of measurement. But another meaning, fathom, means to understand, to comprehend. Here, yet to fathom means yet to understand, yet to comprehend. No, not difficult problem. It means understand, comprehend. Look at the wording here. Police are yet to fathom the right to free speech and expression, says SC. Means yet to understand. That's an important word. You guys have to know the meaning. Here we have two headlines. UP woman on death row, death penalty, capital punishment. All these you should recollect. Capital punishment, death row, death penalty. In many countries, it has become, they have banned death penalty, capital punishment, and it has become rather controversial. In our country also, some intellectuals have been demanding, because it does not act as a deterrent, we should do away with death penalty or capital punishment. A lot of intellectuals. When you take intellectuals of a country as a group, then we use the word intelligentsia. Have you heard of this any time? Intelligentsia means intellectuals of a country, an important word. Death row in UAE already executed. Execute means what? To carry out, execute, to implement, to do. And here we do have man killed in Haryana over cow smuggling suspicion, 5 held. 5 people killed a man under the suspicion he is smuggling cows. When a group of people take law and order into their hands and try to kill someone, very good. Who is this? Pawan Kumar. What is the word you should recollect? It is lynching. Lynching means killing of a person by a mob, by a crowd. Lynching is the right word. That you should recollect. That's all from today's front page of the Hindu. Let us go to the editorial. As usual, what is the enrichment when you spend time with me for 40 minutes or so? Based on today's editorial, you will improve your comprehension skill, your contextual awareness, your vocabulary. You will be able to consolidate your grammar knowledge, and you get a chance to work on mini mocks. Let us start with editorial vocabulary. Cow killing called. There's no separate term, I suppose, but killing animals, we use the word slaughter. And a place where animals are killed, we use the word slaughterhouse. That is a different thing. Euthanasia is something different. Who is this Anand? Euthanasia means killing someone, mercy killing. What is it? Culling is different. Culling is when the number proliferates and we try to reduce the number of a particular species. That is known as culling. And killing animals, big animals, slaughterhouse, I have already given. Coming to euthanasia, it goes with mercy killing. Euthanasia means someone is suffering with comorbidities, a lot of health issues, then it demands being killed. That is known as mercy killing. A different thing that is again controversial. What is the first word over here? Pawn. Pawn may elicit a lot of words or meanings. Pawnbroker, pawning, and here chess also, obviously. Part of speech noun. Typical meaning goes with chess, but usage point of view, a person or entity. Entity means anything for that matter. A person or entity used by others for their own advantage. A chess piece of the lowest value. Those who play chess, they know the word pawn. When it comes to chess, the one with the lowest value is a pawn. That is one meaning, literal meaning. But what is the other meaning? A person who is used by someone else. We use a puppet also, you can say. Very good, Nagesh. Then we say he has become a puppet in the hands of someone. He is being used as a pawn. And imagine when it comes to a husband who plays to the tunes of his wife, then we use the idiomatic expression, hen-pegged husband. Have you heard of this any time? Hen-pegged husband. That is also an important one you should know. Example, Ukraine should not be made a pawn in any US deal with Russia. That means what? US should not use Ukraine as a pawn while trying to reach out an agreement with Russia. Word forms a pawn. He had to pawn his watch for money. A common man pawning means the things of this meaning, pawnbroker, and it goes with that. Pawning. Word combinations, a mere pawn used as a pawn, political pawn. Word usage, often used metaphorically to describe someone being exploited. When someone is exploited, then we use the word he is being used as a pawn. Synonyms, tool, puppet, instrument, stooge. Stooge is an important word. So is puppet. Master, leader, influencer. Showdown. Showdown has many meanings and usually it has a negative connotation. Part of speech noun, a decisive confrontation or contest. As I said, it has a negative connotation. Confrontation with someone, head on collision, we say showdown. The dramatic showdown in the White House was unprecedented. I'm sure many of you know there was a showdown between Donald Trump and Zelensky. Face off also you can say. Face off has subtle a different meaning. Physically getting into it talks about the physical dimension, but showdown more like an argument, a spat, something of that sort. Dispute. Unprecedented, never happened before. Word forms plural showdowns. Word combinations political showdown, final showdown, dramatic used here. Word usage used in politics, sports, and conflicts to indicate a high stakes confrontation. Usually it goes with sports. Sports, imagine top players are playing or top teams are playing. Then we say, I think today there is a showdown between India and Australia. Am I right? Altercation is also a good word, Jayalakshmi, but it means something like argument. Goes more with bitter argument. Synonyms, confrontation, clash, dispute, battle. Agreement, compromise, reconciliation, important word. Patching up. Humiliating. This is an important word because you should know the word humility. Subtle difference. Fan wars, exactly. When it comes to humiliating, humiliation, it's a negative word. What does it mean? Insult someone. But humility is a positive word. Imagine there's a great personality, but he is very simple, very modest, down to earth, not at all proud and humble. And also we say he is a man full of humility. Means down to earth, modest, simple. These words, it has a positive connotation, humility. On the other hand, humiliating, part of speech adjective, causing someone feel ashamed or degraded. But simple word, insulting someone. Example, the visit was both humiliating and disastrous for Zelensky. Zelensky went all the way to the US to have talks with the US President Donald Trump, but it was disastrous. Negative impact, devastating impact. At the same time, humiliating means what? Insulting. In fact, some media houses have written Zelensky was kicked out of White House. They use literally kicked out of the White House. Word forms humiliate, verb. He was humiliated in public. Past tense, passive voice. Humiliation. The humiliation was unbearable. This is what happens. When someone gets insulted in public, they can't bear that insult. Then they say the humiliation was unbearable, means not tolerable. Adverb, humiliatingly. Word combinations, humiliating defeat, a typical defeat, loss. Word usage often used to describe embarrassing failures or mistreatment. Embarrassing, degrading, shaming, Mortifying, this is an important word you should focus on after the session. Honorable, dignified, respectable. Simple words. Spat. Spat we have got many a time. Front page of the Hindu paper, snippets. We got the word spat. Part of speech noun, a short and petty quarrel. Petty means trivial, not important. Example, the spat between the leaders escalated quickly. Word forms, verb spat, past form of spit, past form, but rarely used in the choral sense. It's always used as a noun. There was a spat, there is a spat, there's going to be a spat. Plural spats. Word combinations, spat itself is minor political heated spat. These are better combinations. Word usage, used in informal context to describe small disputes. That's what surprised me. Spat goes more with, nowadays it is being used in formal context, but as far as my knowledge goes, in my opinion, spat is a word that goes with informal English, everyday English. You should also recollect Madhavi, very good. Idioms like apple of discord, bone of contention. Synonyms, quarrel, squabble, an important word, a dispute, argument, agreement, harmony, peace, simple words. Snub. There are two words you should not get confused, though they're related. One is snob, the other one is snub. A snob snubs others. Snobbish means someone is very proud, thinks he is superior to others, others are nothing in front of him. Then that attitude is called snobbish attitude. The person is called a snob. He is a snob. And usually these snobs, they try to look down upon others. Then we use the word snub. Part of speech, it can be a noun, it can be a verb. An act of showing disregard or disrespect. You don't respect others thinking they're inferior to you. As a verb, to ignore or reject someone disrespectfully. It goes more with ignoring. You go to a party, you see someone and that person wishes you, you just ignore. And that person may say, you snubbed him. But there's one important idiom you should recollect. What is that one? To give a cold shoulder. Have you heard of this any time? To give a cold shoulder? Very good. Who is this? Maleshwari. Wonderful. We have to face that, sir. Who is this? Okay, Leelavati. It happens, quite natural. All people are not good. No one is infallible in this world. We come across good people, bad people, part of life. Example, Trump's snub was a major diplomatic setback. Trump snubbed Zelensky, and that is a diplomatic setback. Word forms, snub, he snubbed his colleague. Snubbed. And many people mispronounce this word. People tend to say colleague. No, imagine college, same pronunciation. Colleague, not colleague. That's a commonly mispronounced word. Word combinations, snub a request, public snub, diplomatic snub, important, used to indicate intentional disregard or rejection or disrespect. Synonyms, rebuff, an important word, cold shoulder, I have just given, acknowledge, accept, welcome. Cherish, another important word. I give the example. What does it mean? Why Nimisha ma'am here? Quiz quest. Could you please justify? Cherish means when you think of your childhood, imagine you feel very happy. Then what do you say? I cherish my childhood. Adjective, cherish, part of speech, meaning highly valued and deeply appreciated. You cherish something. Example, Trump accused Zelensky of disrespect America in its cherished Oval Office. Who is this quiz quest? Be mature enough to watch this, get enriched. Don't try to ask others who are watching this whether they watch other videos, other channels or not. That is not being mature enough. Vera, have a look at the comment. Trump accused Zelensky of disrespecting America in its cherished Oval Office. They all respect Oval Office, and in that they felt they were insulted. Based on that, Trump snubbed him. Word forms, verb, cherish. She cherishes her memories. Next one, those days never come back. Noun, cherishment. Word combinations, cherished memories, cherished traditions, values also. All these are important combinations. Word usage, used to describe things held in high regard, obviously. Synonyms, treasured, an important word. Precious, an important word. Antonyms, neglected, disregarded, unimportant. Nostalgic has a different meaning. Nostalgic means thinking of the past. When you see your childhood pics, you say nostalgic. Means you think of your childhood. But you think of your childhood, you feel very happy and you enjoy. When you think, you feel very happy. Then you cherish those moments. That's all about today's editorial vocabulary. When you think of past, unpleasant past, always we say don't brood over, don't dwell on. That also you should recollect. Very good. Who is this? Murli, I appreciate. Today's editorial, see, there are two editorials, short editorials on the left. One deals with economy, Indian economy, though it is important, I haven't brought because it's more data based, percentages, segment wise, sector wise, what percentage, comparison. There's nothing to learn from English proficiency point of view. Here, at least something is there to learn, and it is an international topic. Today, war is important. War, obviously. This goes with war and peace. How does it start? War and peace. Obviously, this has been written. The stimulus, the meeting, unfortunate meeting between Donald Trump and Zelensky. That is a stimulus. Main idea: Ukraine should not be made a pawn in any US deal with Russia. Should not be made. Is it active voice or passive voice? We should not make Ukraine a pawn, active voice. Ukraine should not be made a pawn, that is passive voice. Should not be made. But first you should know the meaning of the model should. It is used to advise or suggest someone. Also, possibility chances are less. Here, advise or suggest. Ukraine should not be made a pawn in any US deal with Russia. Now, Donald Trump, though in the past they were arch rivals, at the time of bipolar world, the USA, the USSR, arch rivals. But things have changed with the disintegration of the USSR, the present Russia, not the same superpower. But in spite of that, the US President Donald Trump wants to patch up with Russia and set right the ties with Russia. And he's trying to do it. While trying to do that, he's trying to use Ukraine as a pawn. Based on that, should not be made a pawn. How does it start? The dramatic showdown in the White House between US President Donald Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart Zelensky, in full view of television cameras, was unprecedented in the history of modern diplomacy. This goes with modern diplomacy, and something unprecedented happened. And we have one important word here, counterpart. We have got many a time. What is the meaning of counterpart? Is the font size big enough, or do I have to increase the font size? I'll do it tomorrow. Today it is not possible, but give the feedback. Are you able to make out the text? Counterpart means someone at the same level. Imagine Donald Trump is the president of the US and head of the country. Same way, Zelensky is the head of Ukraine. Fair enough? Good enough. Thank you. Counterpart, Zelensky in full view of television cameras. In front of the media, they had a spat. That never happened. It doesn't happen usually. It happened unprecedented. Never happened before in the history of modern diplomacy. For Mr. Zelensky, who was to sign, this is an important expression you have to know. When I teach active voice and passive voice, I give, first I tell students how to change from active voice to passive voice, level 1. Then I take them to the next level, higher level. I give some important rules. And one pattern, here I give the rule infinitives. This pattern goes with infinitives. What is the infinitive here? To sign. He was to sign. How do you change it to passive voice? He was to sign a document. A document was to be signed. To be signed. That is passive voice. Important pattern. Who was to sign an agreement on minerals and discuss Mr. Trump's peace plan? If you ask the question, why did Zelensky go to the US? Why did he have a meeting with the President Donald Trump? To discuss two things. One, he wanted to sign a minerals deal, one thing. The other one, he wanted to know the plan of the US, the plan of Donald Trump with Russia. One is minerals and agreement on minerals, and second, discuss Mr. Trump's peace plan. I am sure many of you know, discuss what should come to your mind. After certain verbs, we should not use prepositions. And important verbs, discuss about wrong, order for wrong, inform to wrong. All these insist on, stress on, not correct. Stress, insist on, nothing wrong. The visit was both humiliating and disastrous. Unfortunately, he went to the US anticipating something positive, but unfortunately, the visit was one thing: disastrous means completely negative, and humiliating, insulting. And as I said, some media houses have written Zelensky was kicked out of the White House. Humiliating because Mr. Zelensky's apparent questioning of US Vice President J.D. Vance's push for diplomacy triggered a spiraling spat. Then he was insulted, perhaps. Why was it humiliating? Why was it insulting? The editorial is providing us with a reason, the reason behind. It seems he questioned Zelensky's apparent questioning. Apparent means obvious questioning of US Vice President J.D. Vance's push for diplomacy triggered a spiraling spat. There's one important word here, spiraling. Spiral has two different meanings. One meaning, this is what something gets coiled. We use the word spiral. Another meaning, spiraling prices, spiraling wages, spiraling salaries, means increasing, continuously increasing. That is an important meaning you should know. That is the reason behind prompting Mr. Trump to say that Ukraine was not winning the war. President made a categorical statement. What was it? Ukraine was not winning the war or not going to win the war, and that Mr. Zelensky was being ungrateful to the US. Background information: ever since the war started between the Ukraine and Russia, the US has been the major supporter, and US has been supporting in terms of aid. But President Donald Trump felt Zelensky did not reciprocate, and he was ungrateful, means not thankful. He said that immediately. It was disastrous. So here the writer is trying to explain. The writer said the trip or the visit to the US was humiliating and disastrous. Now he's trying to justify. Why was it humiliating? He gave the reason. Now he wants to give us a reason, he or she, why it was disastrous. It was disastrous because Mr. Trump asked Mr. Zelensky to take the deal he was negotiating with Russians, or we are out. Take it or leave it. We are out means we are not going to be together. He gave an option. This was a threat that the US would stop. It means what? We are out means, indirectly he told Zelensky, if it does not accept the deal between the US and Russia, US would stop helping Ukraine. That would make again a negative impact on Ukraine. This was a threat that the US would stop supplying weapons to Kyiv, which is struggling to show down and advancing Russia. Slow down. Russia is past advancing, and Ukraine is trying to slow down that advancement of Russia. Mr. Trump's snub that Mr. Zelensky had disrespected America in its cherished Oval Office, and that he can come back when he's ready for peace. Based on this, perhaps they wrote he was kicked out, and Trump made a statement. What is that statement? He can come back. Though we sent him out, kicked him out, he can come back, provided he comes back with a peace in mind. He can come back when he is ready for peace, marked a breakdown in his relationship with the Ukrainians. This unless reversed, an important word. Tell me, why is the word unless important? Unless is a negative word. In English, we have one of the rules: double negatives are not acceptable. They have given in many competitive exams. Unless you don't sign the papers, we will not release the hostages. Imagine. Unless you don't sign the papers, there are two clauses. Unless you don't sign the papers, we will not release the hostages. Nothing wrong with the second clause. But first clause, unless you don't sign, that is wrong. Unless is a negative word. No, not law of inversion. Srinivas Rao, not that one. It is known as double negative. And we cannot say do not. That is also negative. So what is the correct sentence? Unless you sign the papers, unless you sign, that is correct. Never use unless and one more negative expression. This unless reversed could prove costly for Ukraine. Prove costly means it is going to be dangerous, or it is going to be a problem for Ukrainians at a time when it needs the support of all its allies. Slowly, Russia is getting the grip, and this is a time Ukraine needs the support of all allies, especially the US. This is not the time to have a spat with the US. Wrong timing. The tragedy of Ukraine is that it became a pawn in the great game between a powerful Russia and the US-dominated North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. It became a pawn between two. One is Russia, the other one is North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The bloc wanted to join. At some point, Ukraine wanted to join this organization. When Joe Biden, now what happened before Donald Trump? When Joe Biden was the US president, he promised to support Ukraine as long as it takes. Means indefinite. As long as it demands, as long as it takes, the US was ready to support Ukraine. Now things have changed. The weapons and training that the US and Europe have provided to Ukraine helped it mount an effective resistance. Because Ukraine got support from Europe and from the US, it could resist a Russian invasion to a great extent. But the problem has been that here it is not passive voice, it is active voice. Has been present perfect, active voice. But the problem has been that even with that support, Ukraine does not have a path towards victory. Even with that support, Ukraine does not seem to go in the direction of victory. Chances are bleak. And the return of Mr. Trump, who promised to shut down the war through a reset with Russia, has meant the end of the as long as it takes policy. When Biden was a president, as long as it takes policy was there. Now it is not going to be effective. I think morning news, officially Donald Trump announced US has stopped aid to Ukraine. This is not going to happen. How does it, I think this is the last one. Okay. Mr. Trump seems determined to make a deal with Russia, while Ukraine wants security guarantees, which Washington is reluctant to provide. What does Zelensky want from the US? He wants some sort of security assurance, but the US is not willing to provide that. US is rather reluctant. What is the meaning of reluctant? Unwilling, exactly, Nagesh. This is the main reason for the rift. Rift means a gap between friends, gap between countries, a rift. After the Oval Office pact, Mr. Zelensky was welcomed in London by UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who said Europe must do heavy lifting. Some European countries supported Zelensky, not all, a few. And the first one to do that, the UK. But he also emphasized that for any European plan to succeed, it must have strong US backing. Even Europe cannot do anything without US backing. The US is the main player. So it is important for Ukraine and Europe to work with the Trump administration in negotiations with Russia. They have no other choice. It is like Hobson's choice. What is the meaning of Hobson's choice? no choice. They have to depend on the US. And if America, which until 2 months ago was Ukraine's greatest supporter, abandons Kyiv, what will happen? It would only hurt its reputation as a global power. At this juncture, even the US can't afford to leave Ukraine. If at all it does it, it will lose that image, global power. The US should make sure that Ukraine's security concerns are adequately addressed in any final agreement with Russia and aimed at ending the war and bringing lasting peace in Europe. This is a stand taken by the editorial based on should advise. What does it say? The US should make sure that Ukraine's security concerns are adequately addressed in any final agreement. That is one thing with Russia, and another thing, and aimed at ending the war and bringing lasting peace in Europe. It ends on that note. That's all about the editorial. Try to answer the questions based on today's editorial to test your comprehension skill. Why was Zelensky's visit to the White House described as humiliating? Oh, within no time, Manisha, first one to respond. He was asked to take a deal with Russia or lose US support. Answer is B. What did Donald Trump imply when he told Zelensky, we are out? When Donald Trump said, we are out, what did he imply? US would stop supporting Ukraine if it did not accept the deal. Seems the one. No, no. Answer is A. Wonderful. What policy did Joe Biden adopt regarding Ukraine during his presidency? What was the policy adopted by Joe Biden when he was the president of the US? Easy to answer. Support Ukraine as long as it takes. This is the one you should remember. Yes. What is the primary cause of the rift between Trump administration and Ukraine? The reason for that gap between those two. Trump wants a reset with Russia while Ukraine seeks security guarantees. Trump believes Ukraine has already won the war. Ukraine refused to supply minerals to the US. Trump doesn't want to be involved in international conflicts. What is the answer again? A is the answer. Conflict of interests. What warning does the editorial give regarding the US abandoning Ukraine? If US abandons Ukraine at this stage, abandon means to desert, to leave. What is going to happen? What warning does the editorial give? It would damage the US's reputation as a global power. Image of the US as a global power, that may get, it may take a beating. Take a beating means to get affected or to get spoiled. Now, questions based on mini mocks, error location, fillers, word usage. Try to spot the error. Identify the part of the sentence that contains an error. If institutions are serious about rooting out sexism, they must walk the talk by providing an enabling atmosphere for those on the rolls. Nagashri says 1A. What is wrong with the first one? If institutions are serious about rooting out sexism, there is nothing wrong with. No, we cannot change the verb to the past form. No. Pravalika also says almost all the students, Manisha, and answer is no error. Who is this? Murali. One student got it right. After that, I see Pawan also, Nagesh also. No error whatsoever. Please respect the last option. What is the last option? No error. The Supreme Court of India, the ouster of two civil judges, terming the termination orders as punitive, arbitrary, and illegal. What did the Supreme Court do? Two judges were two judges were terminated. Understand the context. They were taken back. Means accepted, initiated, endorsed, no. Reversed the ouster of two civil judges, and based on that, they got reinstituted. A is the answer. Reversed. Choose option where the given word is correctly used, word usage, and what is the word in focus? Onus, responsibility, duty. Which sentence it has been used properly? The onus of ensuring gender equality lies with policymakers, seems okay. She was honest about, no. The Supreme Court honest, no. He was an honest worker. Answer is A is the answer. Good. We have four words, four meanings. Cognizant means be aware. Arbitrary, unfair, unreasonable. Punitive, related to punishment. Entrenched, stereotyped thinking. Yes. All are important words, and you have got all the four correct. Wonderful. Phrase meaning. What does a phrase walk the talk mean? An important phrase, walk the talk. What does it mean? To follow through what with actions matching words. Excuses. To follow through with actions matching words. Do what you say, simple. Practice what you preach, wonderful. Who is that? Pravalika. Good. Here we have a question, double pillars. While gender cannot be an excuse for performance, based on this cannot be an excuse. That means you need a negative word. Exceptional you cannot say. Outstanding you cannot say. You have to choose a negative word and one of the two. For poor performance, it is incredible that the court had to intervene in this matter, seems okay. For ordinary performance, no. Expected, no. What is the answer here? B is the answer. That's all from today's session. I hope you guys have got enriched. Try to work on important words, synonyms, antonyms, and important patterns. That will help in the long run. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.